This is the solution video for section 1.8, problems 6 through 9. They all kind of go together. So uh, let's read the directions. It says match the graph of the function f with the graph of its derivative a through d shown below. So what does that mean? That means that 6, 7, 8, and 9 are the f of x graphs, and a through d are the derivative graphs. All right, so remember, what we want to think about here is the fact that when we look at a graph of a function, so let's take a look at number 6, we are looking for the slope of the tangent to find the derivative. So let's take a bunch of different points here and think about the slopes of the tangents. All right, so over here on the left, this tangent line right here would have a negative slope, right? This tangent line would also have a negative slope, but slightly less steep. This tangent line would also have a negative slope, but even less steep. This tangent line would have a horizontal slope, meaning its slope is 0. Then we have a positive slope, a larger positive slope, and then an even larger positive slope. So what are we looking for? We are looking for, as we move from left to right, we are looking for a graph that has a negative value, a smaller negative, meaning closer to 0, even closer to 0, then 0 at x equals 0, and then positive increasing values. And so this graph has negative, smaller negative, closer to 0, smaller negative, 0, small positive, bigger positive, bigger positive. So the answer to 6 should be B. All right. So what we want to do is we want to think about the same thing moving forward. All right. So think about a couple points on number 7 as we go. So what's going on? There is a large positive slope, a less positive, and then an even smaller positive, and then 0. Then once again, over here, a small positive, a bigger positive slope, and then the biggest positive slope. So which one of these graphs is positive, 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 0, positive, positive, positive? Well, the only graph that has that is A. It's a larger positive, smaller positive, smaller positive, 0, small positive, bigger positive, bigger positive. So the answer to 7 is A. All right, let's keep moving here. All right, so I'm going to start right here. So on 8, this first slope here is 0. Then we have negative slope, negative slope, negative slope, 0. Then a positive slope, positive slope, positive slope. Then 0. Then negative slope, negative slope, negative slope, then 0, and then positive slope, positive slope, positive slope, 0. So we want a graph that is negative, then 0, then positive, then 0, then negative, then 0, then positive, then 0. So remember, negative means below the x-axis. Positive means above the x-axis. So which graph is below the x-axis, above the x-axis, below the x-axis, above the x-axis? Oh, actually, C and D both seem to do that, right? Below the x-axis, above the x-axis, below the x-axis, above the x-axis. So now we want to think about, well, what is actually also going on here? Well, this graph, if we would have continued it, it was a trig function, right? And so it would have gone positive just before it went below the x-axis. And here it would have gone below the x-axis just before positive. So that actually means that it's D. Notice this is above the x-axis, then below, then above, then below, then above, and then below again. And so the answer to 8 is D. All right. By process of elimination, 9 goes with C, but let's make sure we understand. So let's pick a couple points. Negative slope, negative slope, negative slope, 0. Positive slope, 0. Negative slope, 0. Positive slope, positive slope. So we go over here and we see negative means below, 0, above, 0, below, 0, above. So which one has that? Well, this one does, right? negative, it's below the x-axis, then 0, then above the x-axis, then 0, then below the x-axis, then 0, and then above the x-axis. And so 9 is C.